Yasya mama vachimimam prasuptam sanjeevayadi Akila Shakti Dharasabdhana Anyam Sahastacharana Sravanatvagadim Pranan Namo Bhagavade Purushaya Tubhyam Om Sthapakaya Dharmasya Sarvadharmasya Rupini Avatar Varishtaya Ramakrishnaya Te Namaha. Today's topic is spiritual insights into Indian classics. One may wonder what literary classics have to do with spirituality. But if you look at some of the sublime examples of world literature, you find literature reflects human life at its best and at its worst, more than history. Because in literature, you come across, you are dealing with people who are actually living in this world, the feelings and emotions, the way they think, the way of life, all that you find reflected in literature. It is said that if you want to know 19th century Russia, you have to read Tolstoy, Dostoevsky, Gogol, Turgenev, and all these great literary creative artists. So if you want to know something about 19th century England, you have to read the Victorian literature. If you want to know America of 19th century, you have to read Emerson, Thoreau, Whitman on the one hand, and also some of the other literary classics. They may not be ranked as classical literature by conservative literary critics, 19th century American literature, but they do reflect life as it was, at its best and also at its worst, as it really happened. Because a great literary classic puts a mirror before society, and you can see the society reflected on that mirror. It's a mirror with a clean, clear surface. Now, there are two literary traditions in world literature which can claim antiquity. That is, one is Homer's Greek literature, Odyssey and Iliad, and then Ramayana and Mahabharata in Indian tradition. But there is one difference. Homer doesn't live as a living culture, as a living tradition in modern Greece or, unfortunately, in modern Western world. In fact, the first name you have to mention when you talk about Western literary heritage is Homer. In Indian tradition, the first name to be mentioned is Valmiki. Now, Valmiki is an interesting figure. Unless we know about him, we won't know much about the antiquity and the spiritual aspect of Indian classical literature. Valmiki was a robber. He was a thief. He used to waylay people, rob people, kill them, loot them. That's what he was doing all his life. But then he happened to confront a group of great saints and sages who asked him this question: you are making a living by stealing, killing, robbing people. But do you know that you have to pay price for this? Not in this life, in next life. So, why are you doing all this? He said, well, I'm a thief by profession. I'm a robber by profession. I waylay people. I kill them, rob them, that's how I make a living. Then they asked him, now you are doing all this to take care of your family, your wife, children, your parents. are they going to take a share of the sins that you are committing by killing people, by robbing people? The man was a bit dunce, he was not very intelligent. And he said, wait a minute. I shall tie you here. You should stay here. I don't want to lose this opportunity to rob you. But you stay here. I will come back. I will go to my home. Ask my parents, his wife and children, whether they were ready to share the sins of his activities. He's committing all these sinful activities all his life. He went home and asked them. They said, no, it's not our burden. It's your burden. You are the one running the home. You are the grown-up. You are the householder. It's your duty to bring whatever is needed for the home. How you do it's your business, not ours. So the man was shattered. He came back. He prostrated before these sages. And then he wanted to start a new life. And the sages gave him a name, a holy name. Because it was a holy name, he could not utter it properly because his mind was so filled with sinful thoughts and ideas. So he could not bring himself to utter the holy name that was given to him. So he had to repeat it upside down. But if you repeat a name upside down, eventually you'll start pronouncing it properly in course of time. So this man was taught and he became a saint after many years. When they came back, they found this man living inside an anthill. And it's called Valmika in Sanskrit. So he got the name Valmiki. This is the first literary classic in Indian literary tradition. Now, how a spiritual literature differs from a literature that just reflects social life as it is, there's a great difference. I can quote some verses from Valmiki Ramayana, and I can quote this Ramayana classic with Homer's Iliad. Now, in Valmiki Ramayana, there is a scene to the end of the story. The villain of Valmiki Ramayana is Ravana. Now, don't forget about a man with 10 heads, all fiction. So, fictionalization of life has its value because you don't want to watch a drama where everything happens exactly as you predict. It's not worth watching, and such a book is not worth reading. So there should be a lot of what in Indian tradition they call masala. You may call spices in every literary creation. So Ravana is this monster with 10 heads. And you can find in this literature people with extraordinary physical attributes, somebody with 1,000 heads, 500 hands, and so on. So you need not worry too much about that. But the point is, Ravana was a villain. And very similar to Iliad. In Iliad, the hero of Iliad is Achilles. And the king Agamemnon, the Greek king, his wife was Helen, was kidnapped by Hector, the Trojan prince. And that was how the Trojan War started, 10 years. And surprisingly, there are many similarities. In Iliad, you find gods and goddesses descending to this earth and taking part in the warfare. They are fighting, they are very cunning, crooked, jealous. All you find among the gods and goddesses of the ancient Greek mystery religion. All of them have their role to play in Iliad. So also in Valmiki Ramayana. But I shall just focus on one incident because I want to continue this as a series of lectures, Ramayana and Mahabharata. So I can continue maybe for thousands of years. Mahabharata is more than 100,000 verses, thousands of characters, hundreds of dialogues, and no less than 18 dialogues comparable to Bhagavad Gita, which is a part of Mahabharata. Valmiki Ramayana is 24,000 verses, almost maybe 1/5 of Mahabharata. But Valmiki Ramayana is richer in terms of its message to our times and its message for human life as a whole. It is more focused on what it takes for you to become a good human being. Mahabharata is much more than that. Anyway, so coming to subject. So in Iliad, Achilles Hector kidnaps Helen, the wife of King Agamemnon, the Greek king, and the war started. And Hector was killed by Achilles, not for kidnapping Helen, but Hector killed one of the closest friends of Achilles. He's the hero, the mighty warrior of the Greek camp. Now Hector was killed, and his dead body was tied to the chariot, and Achilles ran the chariot 3 times in the battlefield in front of the innumerable wives and children. The polygamy was common in ancient Greece. Wives and children and parents and distant relations, they were crying and weeping, and Achilles dragged Hector's body all over the battlefield. So that is how he treated the dead body of his defeated enemy. In Ramayana, there is a scene. You know this is something about Ramayana story, but I'll come to that later. Ravana was the villain. He kidnapped Sita. And after defeating these evil forces, Ravana's huge demon army, Ravana was killed. Ravana had a younger brother. There were 2 brothers, Kumbhakarna and Vibhishana, but his youngest brother was Vibhishana. This man was totally different from Ravana in his character, in his behavior, in his values. He was a very virtuous person, very pious. He totally disliked his elder brother Ravana for all the sinful deeds he did. Because Ravana was a notorious villain of those days. That's how Valmiki has portrayed him. And after he was killed, his younger brother Vibhishana said, "The rascal is dead. Good riddance. I won't do any after-death ceremonies in his name." That was what Vibhishana said after his elder brother was killed by Rama. Rama comes forward, tells him, "Maranantani vairani nirvrittam na prayojanam kriyadam asya samskaro yada pesha tatha." What he means is, this is Valmiki Ramayana, Yuddhakanda you find. So, Rama, who actually, after a very long warfare, killed this evil demon, Ravana, tells Vibhishana, Ravana's younger brother, who refused to do the after-death ceremony of his elder brother. Because you can imagine somebody who has done the most indescribable, horrible things, and Vibhishana had left his home. He was kicked out by his elder brother for being a good human being, good person. So when the elder brother was killed, Vibhishana said, "Good riddance, very good. I would have nothing to do with him." The Rama comes forward. Rama was the enemy who killed Ravana. Maranantani vairani. All hostilities, all animosities come to an end when a man is dead. Now it's your sacred duty to do the after-death ceremony of your elder brother. If you don't do it, I shall do it. Because this physical body is just one semicolon in this long journey of human life. It is not the end of everything. One life, one body-mind complex, one emotion system. Unfortunately, this Ravana was an evil person. He did a lot of terrible things. So you are fully justified in leaving him, in deserting him. But you are totally wrong when you refuse to do the after-death ceremony of the elder brother. Because Marananta ani Vairani, or Nivrittam na Prayojanam. Our goal was not to hate him, but our goal was to prevent him from doing more terrible things in this world. Nirvrittam na prayojanam. Asmagam prayojanam nirvrittam means our goal is achieved. What is the goal? To prevent this man, this evil man, from doing more terrible things. Kriyadam asya samskaro. Now you should perform his after-death ceremony. If you don't do that, I shall do, because now he is as much a friend of mine as yours. As he said, actually the literal translation, yadha pesha tatha means, is as much a brother of mine as yours. This is the translation. Now we can see the great difference. So that is spirituality of Ramayana. Now, to give a brief introduction. Ramayana is one of the, as mentioned, one of the two most important epics of Hindu tradition. Ramayana had already become very popular by almost maybe 9th century AD. Almost all over Far Eastern countries like Indonesia, Sumatra, Bali, what is now Malaysia, all these countries. Many of their you can find in those countries many of the relics of temples dedicated to many of these deities of Hindu tradition. Altogether, it has got 24,000 verses divided into 7 kandas. Kanda is a mini section. Balakanda, Ayodhya Kanda, Aranya Kanda, Kishkinda Kanda, Sundara Kanda, Yuddha Kanda, Uttara Kanda. It's means sections. Almost what you call 500 sargas, roughly equivalent to chapters. Now, how this Ramayana came to be written? So one day, this great poet, after his spiritual transformation, he was sitting somewhere and a great sage came there. After his transformation, which I referred to earlier, Narada came. So when Narada came, Valmiki asked this question. Kornasmin Sampratam Loge Gunavan Kasavirivan Dharmaknyasya Kritaknyasya Satyavakyo Dridhavrata, etc. The question is this: who is the most ideal man right now living in this world? So all those attributes and qualities are mentioned here. Who is the most ideal person living in this world today? Who is an embodiment of Satya? Satya means truthfulness. Then gratitude, well-earned reputation. I mean, person who has become famous because of his virtuous life. And who is an embodiment of everything. You have to remember, in Valmiki Ramayana, Rama is defined as Ramo Vigrahavan Dharma Sadhu Satya Parakramaha. This is the most important definition of Rama's character in Ramayana. It means what it says is, Rama is the physical embodiment of Dharma. Dharma can be defined as the essence of all conceivable human attributes, spiritual, ethical, cultural values. If these values can take a human body shape, that is Rama. And this definition doesn't come from Rama's followers. It comes from one of the relatives of Ravana, who was himself a demon, up to no goods. But that person, Marija, Ravana's uncle. So this man, this demon, looking at Rama and observing how he lived in this world, how he reacted with his own enemies, including himself. He said, if Dharma can take a physical embodiment, that is Rama. Now, one may ask this question. There are many pacifists in modern times. And talking about pacifists, you should know that Gandhi died uttering Rama's name 3 times. When he was shot, he was killed, he uttered 3 times the holy name of Rama. Rama was his ideal. Now, how could Gandhi think of Rama as an ideal? If you look at Rama's picture, you can see a long bow. He's like a warrior. And Gandhi was a prophet of Ahimsa. How do you explain this? So Gandhi himself replied in one context. Without Rama's bow, Rama's dharma will have no value. Because Rama's dharma could become dynamic, active, effective, and functional because there was something with him which he could be ready to use to practice and implement dharma. Otherwise, dharma cannot exist. This one of you can find in Young India. Gandhi wrote in Gujarati, which translated. You know, Gandhi's complete works. You won't like to read it because it contains so many things which are not so very profound. Some letters, some ideas, some very wonderful things. Also, 92 volume, Navajivan Press, huge. You need several shelves to put the whole books. But in one of his writings, he said, Rama's Ahimsa, Rama was an embodiment of Ahimsa, but Rama's Ahimsa was built upon the rock foundation of his bow. That is Gandhi's reply. Now, there are many interests. There are a few flashlights. I shall refer to some of these interesting incidents. There is some verses from Valmiki Ramayana which throw light on the values, family values, spiritual values, ethical values, cultural values that you find in Ramayana. So you have to remember the story, perhaps everyone knows. 4 brothers, they were born within a few hours, for Rama, Lakshmana, Bharata, Shatrugna. They were not the sons of the same mother. His father had 3 wives, Kausalya, Sumitra, and Kaikeyi. So Lakshmana was the son of Sumitra, and Bharata was the son of Kaikeyi. Rama was the son of Kausalya, the eldest of the 3 wives. So the story is this. His father, in some weak moments, he was slightly henpecked. He was a great man, but he had some weakness for his younger wife. So he gave a promise that he will make Kaikeyi's son Bharata as the next heir apparent. So, as I mentioned earlier, a great literary creation reflects society as it is. Because a great work, literary classic, is a mirror that is placed right in front of society or civilization. More than history, a great literary classic can teach you how life was like in those days. So, according to the promise, his father was supposed to make his younger brother Bharata as the next king, heir apparent. And it was against tradition. Rama was the eldest of the brothers. So the 4 brothers, Rama, Lakshmana, Bharata, Shatrugna. Anyway, the coming subject. Today we are focusing on certain aspects. So his stepmother, Kaikeyi, insisted that her son Bharata should be made the king, which was against the popular will and also against the wishes of the king, who was a very virtuous person, though somewhat henpecked. So it was heartbroken, and he actually died very soon. In fact, this happened. But Rama was ready to relinquish his own kingdom in favor of his stepmother's wishes to make her son the next king. But Bharata didn't like it. But anyway, the story. Now, Rama agreed to go to forest for 14 years. That's the story. That's how it begins, the story. He agreed to go to forest. That is one of the conditions that his stepmother put forward. Remember, the whole setting is designed to underline, to interpret certain great values of human life as it is. There are villains in the work, and there are also great specimens of humanity, wonderful, sublime examples of human virtues. So Lakshmana also agreed to go along with Rama. Now remember, the elder brother Rama, the eldest of them, was supposed to be the king, but Rama wanted to honor the wishes of his stepmother, who, against all traditions and popular will, insisted that her son, Bharata, should be the next king. Rama was ready to relinquish, renounce, all right, let him be. I am ready to go to forest. Because if I stay here, you can remember, then younger brother Bharata will feel disturbed. Rama was so popular, so great. In his presence, Bharata will be practically insignificant. So Rama wanted to go to forests. There is a story behind this, which I'm going to discuss later, maybe in the next session. So what happened was, Lakshmana was asked by his mother, Sumitra, to accompany his elder brother Rama to forest. Your elder brother should not go alone. You also should go along with your elder brother. Lakshmana was not obliged to do that, but his mother, and he also wanted that he should go to the forest along with Rama as his companion, as a younger brother, and as his support. Now, at that time, Sumitra, Lakshmana's mother, was asking her own son to accompany Rama. Ramam Desharadam Vidhi, Mam Vidhi Janagatmajam, Ayodhyam Adavim Vidhi, Gachatata Yatha Sukham. So Ramam Desharadam Vidhi. Desharada is the name of the father of all the brothers. So you are going along with Rama. Look upon Rama as your father himself. Because in the absence of the parents, you should respect and serve your elder brother as if your elder brother is your father. Understand Desharatha as your father. Mam Vidhi Janagatmaja. Janagatmaja is Sita's name. Her father was King Janaka, the great king. You are familiar with him in Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, the great king, philosopher king. So Sita was the wife of Rama. So you should look upon your elder brother's wife as if she is your mother. So respecting elder brother as father and honoring his wife as your own mother. And then Ayodhyam Adavim Vidhi. Adavi means forest. They were living in the luxurious surroundings of a palace in Ayodhya. Now you are going away from this luxurious palace, you are going to forests as a mendicant. You had to hunt animals. Remember, surprisingly, many Hindus who don't know Sanskrit, unfortunately, will think Rama was eating roots and grass and milk. No. Rama was maybe shocking to many. You know, there are verses in Valmiki Ramayana which clearly tells you that Rama was a meat eater. Meat was only food available to forest. And many Hindus who would like to live like Gandhi think that Rama should be having like Gandhi. Not Gandhi was the opposite of Rama. Rama was the opposite of Gandhi. I mentioned to you, I quoted Gandhi. Gandhi, who was the embodiment of prophet of Ahimsa, said, Rama also is the embodiment prophet of Ahimsa, non-violence, but with a little difference. Gandhi uttered Rama's name 3 times after he was shot before he breathed his last. That Gandhi writes in Young India in Gujarati language, translated to English language. A huge contributed complete books of Gandhi run into several volumes, 92 huge volumes, each the size of Webster's or Chambers Dictionary. Gandhi writes, Rama's ahimsa, Rama's non-violence will have no meaning without the long bow that he was carrying with him and the quiver of arrows, sharp arrows. That was what made Rama's ahimsa functional, effective. That's what it made workable. So that should be clearly understood. Rama was the embodiment of, what you may say, strength, power, courage with spiritual wisdom. All these qualities you can find among many people. If they are put to good use, that's for the good of the world, we can imagine. So in this context, of course, there's a different message. Rama's younger brother Lakshmana is accompanying him. Rama himself said, you don't have to come. And he also tried to persuade Sita, no, you stay back. Why should it be very difficult for you to stay in the forest? But she said, no, I will come along with you. Where you are, that's my place. And then Sumitra, Rama's stepmother, Bharata's mother, Lakshmana's mother, Sumitra is Lakshmana's mother. She tells Lakshmana, the younger brother, you accompany Rama, and when you live with Rama, remember, Rama is your father. In the absence of your father, when you are living in the forest, Rama is like your father. And Rama's wife is like your mother. Mam Vidhi Janagatmajam. Janagatmajam Mam Vidhi means you look upon Sita as myself. My means Sumitra, Lakshmana's mother. Ayodhya Madhavim Vidhi. Now you are going away from this capital city, Ayodhya, the palace. You are living in the forest. That forest is now your palace. And Gachatata Yatha Sukham. Go and come back with all happiness. So you can imagine. So these are some of the great values that you find here. There are many other examples. About the same young man, I'm coming to Lakshmana because according to many critics, the Sanskrit commentator Govindaraji, famous Tiga on Valmiki Ramayana. Lakshmana is a very unique character here. This youngster had absolutely no need to accompany his elder brother. And even his own mother did not insist. Only when he volunteered, his mother told him, well, you're going wonderful, but look upon your elder brother as your father. Now, about that Lakshmana, there is a great statement that comes from, whom you know, it comes from Sita. Vruddhopasevi Lakshmivan Shakto na Bhubhashita. Bhubhashita means very, very conservative in using his language. And Vruddhopasevi means, Sita says, you may learn great books, you may get a PhD, you may become a scientist, but how to make use of what you learn in a university? You need something more, that's called wisdom. And that wisdom, of course, you can get by reading books. But there is a higher wisdom that you can only learn from those who inherit and preserve culture, tradition, values as a heritage in a succession. You can imagine, think of Western literary tradition, minus Homer or Virgil. In my opinion, slightly conservative, I don't think it would be very rich. You may have Shakespeare, you may have many people. But I gave the example from Iliad, the exact example. Iliad also, there present wonderful examples also there. Not only Hector and Achilles, but there are many other examples. Or Virgil. So there are certain values which are carried over from generation to generation. And you imbibe these values, you don't learn these values. Because when you learn, you may unlearn, you may forget. When you imbibe, you won't forget it. Because when a baby looks at his or her mother and learns something from his mother, when a very little baby, it is called imbibing. You don't forget it. What you learn in a university, you may forget. What you imbibe, you naturalize, you internalize. So Sita says, you should be with Rama and learn from him what life should be, certain eternal spiritual values of human existence. So Lakshmana had this unique character, this ability. So Vruddhopasevi, Lakshmana naturally respects and takes care of the elders. Lakshmivan. And of course that means he brings prosperity. I mean, just a general word, that's a Hindu mythological tradition. Somebody who is a good person, virtuous person, his association will bring you prosperity. And Bahubhashita, he won't speak much, but he will act. So you find in this Ramayana, this Lakshmana is a very, very interesting character. There are many wonderful values in the Ramayana, as I mentioned. In another context, there is a great statement that is, Vayasa Padamanisya Srodasu Nivartidaha Atma Sukhe Niyoktavya Sugabhaja Prajasmrtaka. So, life is like a stream that flows. And every day reduces the duration of life. Because every day we are approaching the end of life. Therefore, when you strive for happiness, when we struggle for happiness, prosperity and success, we should make sure that we do not deviate from dharma. And the dharma is the essence of human existence. And now if you read Ramayana and if you visit Hindu temples, you'll find many interesting pictures, images. Not all of them are shaped like human beings. Some of them are like animals, some of them a combination of different animals, you find. They are all symbols, they all represent certain higher values. You have to remember, somebody may criticize saying that Ramayana is a myth. Absolutely. Every great literary classic contains some myth, some imagination. I don't think you'll read a story. Suppose you write your own life story. I get up morning 5 o'clock, then you take a bath, you take a breakfast, then you drive to Vedanta Society, then you sit there, you listen to talk. I don't think anybody in his proper mental condition will take the trouble to read such a book. But you have to add something more to it. That's how a great literary classic is shaped and formed. You don't suppose, think of Homer's Iliad or Odyssey. Odyssey contains many interesting adventures which are certainly inconceivable in real life. Or in Iliad, suddenly all these gods and goddesses descend on this earth and taking sides on Trojan side or Greek side and fighting with each other. You don't think such things happening. When you open your eyes to today's Greece, you don't find those things happening. So these are all fictions, absolutely. It is this fiction it is the imagination that actually brings in the value of a literary classic. That's why I mentioned earlier. A history book is like a list of items that you go to Costco or Trader Joe's to buy. No one will take the trouble to read your list of items you're going to buy from Trader Joe's. But literary classic adds something more. That's the product of an imaginative brain. So there is an interesting character, Hanuman. That's what I'm coming to. Now Hanuman, there's a book published by missionaries in India from Vallejo. in 1885. So the front picture was the monkey god of the Hindus. They used that to proselytize, to convert Hindus in Punjab and other places in the later half of 19th century. The monkey god of the Hindus, the missionaries, they actually, the Anglican Church actually. They don't do that these days. But anyway, so they portray Hanuman as some kind of a strange monkey that you can find in a zoo or in a forest. Hanuman is a totally different person. There's a scene in Valmiki Ramayana. So, again you have to think of the scene. Rama had already made preparations to invade Lanka, to defeat the demons, the evil forces who had kidnapped Sita, who were terrorizing the entire world, killing people, terrorizing people. So Rama already had collected an army of monkeys of all people and made preparations. So Ravana, the demon king, came to know of Rama's plan for invasion, and he sent one of his messengers to monitor Rama's activities. Before that, there is another scene. Just before that, Rama was passing through what is now somewhere in Karnataka, Andhra, the region, South India. That is, at that time, that place was inhabited by aborigines. They are not really monkeys. They were people who were outside of maybe Sanskrit language or culture, tradition. They were very wonderful people. So there was a king among them, his name was Sugriva. Sugriva had a minister, his name was Hanuman. So Hanuman was a wonderful, wonderful minister. So Sugriva asked Hanuman to go and find out who is this man moving in these forest regions. Is he our enemy or our friend? Rama was moving towards Lanka. Lanka, from Ayodhya to Lanka, you go through the southern states of India, Indian subcontinent. So before reaching the Indian Ocean, the source of Indian Ocean, they reached Karnataka, Andhra region. At that time, Sugriva was ruling the place. He asked his minister Hanuman to go and find out about the man who is moving with a big bow, looks like a mighty warrior. Is he our enemy or a friend? He was curious to know. He was afraid who would be coming in that region. So Hanuman comes to Rama and then talks to him for a long time. Hanuman's language, polished, received pronunciation, refined language without making any grammatical error, stress and accent, all these I mentioned here. That's what I'm talking about. It's not exaggeration. You can find in this verse, there's an entire interpretation on phonetics, grammar, rhetoric, diplomacy, all you find here, long lines in Valmiki Ramayana. So here Hanuman had a long conversation. Then Hanuman is going back. At that time, Rama gives his opinion about this Hanuman. He says, Na anurveda vinitasya na asam na ayurveda dharinaka na asama veda vidusho shakyamevam prabhashidam. Na anurveda vinitasya na ayurveda dharina means somebody who has not studied entire Rigveda, somebody who has not studied entire Yajurveda and not studied the whole of Samaveda. A person who had not studied all these, who had not studied, not thoroughly studied all these great Vedic texts, a person who had not done it can never speak like this. So, Rama found in Hanuman's conversation traces of great scholarship, great wisdom, great spiritual insights, which is impossible to acquire without mastering all these classical works. And he didn't stop this. Nunam vyakaranam krishnam anena bagudha sudam. Bahu vyakarada anena na kinchit apashabdidam. There is a reference to pronunciation, phonetic accuracy. All the stress, intonation, everything absolutely wonderful. Daniel Jones would find no room for complaint. What he says is, Krishnam Vyagaranam Nuna, he had studied all the different existing schools of Sanskrit grammar thoroughly, because his pronunciation is absolutely wonderful. His accent, his politeness, his humility, and also his firmness behind the words he spoke, they are absolutely wonderful. Namukhe netrayorvapi liladena bhrostada anyeshu vidisa gatreshu dosha sambadita kuchit. When he talked, the body language, the expression on the face, the eyes, everything wonderful. Anyway, it's a very long passage. I won't bother you with this. So Ramayana is a very interesting book. How we should talk. And in these statements, Rama says, Rama's conversation did not produce any negative feeling in the listeners. Firm where firmness are required, cordiality and politeness and refinement when they were required, and with proper language and expressions you can find. So Ramayana is an absolutely wonderful jewel and a treasure house. Remember, never think that it is a religious book. It's a religious book in one sense, because Ramayana was translated in so many languages. Right from the day when Western Indologists, mostly European Indologists, discovered Sanskrit language, a number of translations happened. Ramayana was translated into all conceivable European languages. Ramayana already became popular in the Far Eastern countries long before that. Because it helps us to evolve further from where we are standing. It can teach us, it can reveal to us how people live in difficult times, when you find them in their finest, in their best, and also in their worst. There are characters in Ramayana which are horrible demons, and there are characters who are almost like gods. That's why Rama is looked upon as Maryada Purushottama, meaning is the most exalted, the most idealistic among human beings. If God can take the form of a normal human being and live with us, crying, suffering, weeping, enjoying, happiness and unhappiness coming one after another, just like any other human beings, that is Rama. In the Valmiki Ramayana, Rama cries. Somebody may ask the question, if he's a god, why should he cry? So somebody asked me this question in India long ago when I had to give a seminar to the members of the diplomatic corps, the High Commission professionals, mostly from foreign countries. So when I gave Rama was crying and weeping, they read this and what kind of God is he? See, suppose Valmiki could have easily portrayed Rama as somebody who stands still all the time, grim expression, nothing. But that Rama will be of no use to anyone. You can think of Jesus Christ. Suppose you think of Jesus Christ, some kind of concrete structure with no expression, absolutely no expression. Or Buddha for the matter. Like a concrete structure, granite stone. That kind of incarnation or saint for the matter will serve no purpose for humanity. So a great spiritual person will be living in this world in many ways like any other human beings. They have the problem. See, Sri Ramakrishna had cancer. So people think he is a spiritual man, how could he get cancer? Do you think that Sri Ramakrishna could have lived like a concrete granite structure, like a piece of wood or piece of granite? No. When a spiritual person lives in this world, in many ways he shares some of our own problems. And in the midst of all these problems, how they confront these problems, that's where we learn lessons from them. how a spiritual person confronts the normal problems of life in this world, which all of us may have to confront one day or other. How they deal with those problems. That's where they differ from us. That's the main lesson that you can learn from Ramayana. In the midst of all these realities, some of them good, some of them certainly not good, how to live in this world, clinging to some higher values, that's a lesson we learn from Ramayana. Maybe on another occasion I shall try to continue this discussion. Thank you so much. Namaskar. Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Tat Sat Sri Ramakrishna Arpanamastu.
Om Swasti Prajabhyah Paripalayanta Nyayena Margena Mahim Mahishaha Go Brahmanebhyah Shubhamastu Nityam Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu Kale Varshatu Parjanyaha Prithvi Sasya Shalini Desho Yanksho Brahmana Santu Nibhayaha Om Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinaha Sarve Santu Niramayaha Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu Ma Kaschid Dukkha Bhag Bhavet Om Shanno Mitrashyam Varunaha Shanno Bhavatvaryama Shanna Indro Brihaspatihi Shanno Vishnururukramaha Namo Brahmane Namaste Vayo Tvameva Pratyaksham Brahmasi Tvameva Pratyaksham Brahma Vadishyami Ritam Vadishyami Satyam Vadishyami Tanmamavatu Tadvaktaramavatu Avatu Mam Avatu Vaktaram Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.
The subject for next Sunday is Blessed Mother and Divine Mother. This talk will be given by Prabhupada Jigananda Prana. Child care is provided during our Sunday lectures. On Sunday evenings, there is an online class at 6 p.m. on the foundational text of Indian philosophy. The Zoom and YouTube links are available on our website homepage, as well as in the monthly email bulletin. On Wednesday evenings, we have Vespers with meditation at 7:30 p.m. in this auditorium. On Friday evenings, there is a scripture class at the Old Temple at 7:30 p.m. Every Friday, 7:30 p.m. The Old Temple, class on Bhagavad Gita. Please use the auditorium entrance on Filbert Street. The current text for study is the Bhagavad Gita. The class is also streamed You and your friends are cordially invited to attend all our services. After the Sunday lecture, there will be a Q&A, question and answer session in Vivekananda Hall. All of you are welcome. Thank you. Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Tat Sat Sri Rama Krishna Arpanamastu